congratulations on making it to this night. I stayed here tonight grateful to God and extremely honored to be a part of your celebration. Just 3 months ago, I never would have imagined such an opportunity with my name on it, so thank you. But one thing that I was doing 3 months ago and that I tend to do often is run. I love running. I run while I'm on vacation. I don't get it either. And I'm an aspiring marathoner. Yes, that's 26.2 miles at once. Pray for me. The main reason that I love running is because running, I believe, is such a metaphor for this life that we live. Running has taught me that there is no reason to fear start lines or new beginnings. And I've found that life is like a cycle of marathons, just one race after the next, some full of achievements and success, crowded with supporters, and others just me and God. However it turns out, I can tell you that each mile builds endurance, and every mile adds layers to that Pocomoke perseverance that our school and community have equipped us with. I tell myself all the time, whether I'm out physically running or at work, I say, Kori, girl, 1 mile at a time, your race, your pace. When I think back over my life since high school, I can think of a few lessons that I wish I knew on my graduation night, and a few that I've learned since. So for the purpose of tonight's speech, we are going to call these lessons miles. So I have a question. Graduates, audience, will you run with me tonight?
No.
I love new running buddies. Some of the best excuses follow that question, so thank you for that participation. Mile 1, give yourself grace. I'm sure you've heard 1,000 times by now that you will fail and that things will not go as you planned. It's true. I can also tell you that the lesson isn't always the failure itself. Instead, it's in how you treat yourself during the process of failure and recovery, because despite what you may think, it will be okay. I remember my life a year after graduation. Things were already not going as planned. I graduated in the top 5% of my class, and I was the youngest and the first of my immediate family to go to college. So you can imagine how I felt as I'm transferring back home from out of state after just 1 year away. I had a transcript full of electives and a student loan balance that still haunts me to this day. One of the hardest things to do, graduates, is give yourself grace. After you've made a mistake that leaves you feeling behind, or one that will impact the next 20 to 30 years of your life. We've all heard the phrase, nobody's perfect. So when you find yourself in those imperfect moments, know that you have the power to be patient and kind to yourself. To give yourself time to heal, the opportunity to start fresh, and a water break here and there. And also a chance to take this race 1 mile at a time. Mile 2, invest in yourself or no one else will. People who invest in themselves go further, because these are the people who have put time and effort into becoming the best version of themselves possible. Graduates, as you step into this next leg of your race, whether you are going to college or straight into the workforce, now is the time to start those deposits. I'm not talking about purchasing stocks and bonds here. I'm talking about making time for those experiences that develop your skills, your crafts, and your personality. Experiences like skipping the party to attend the tutoring session, like attending workshops, applying for internships, and joining organizations related to your interests. or like becoming certified in a trade. If I hadn't invested time to learn how to network and dress professionally during college, I would never have landed my first full-time position before the end of my junior year of college with the 5th largest accounting firm in the country. We live in a world today where everyone wants a return on their investment. Believe that you have something to offer and show that you take yourself seriously. Mile 3, find your courage. One of my early accounting professors said to me, she said, "Kori, it's only going to get harder from here." She was referring to my accounting courses to come, but I will always remember this statement because it has been applicable to so many areas of my life. The next level is always a little more intense than the last one. Courage, my favorite word, is the ability to do something that is difficult or scary. I once heard someone say, "Some things you will just have to do scared," like give your first keynote speech. I have found that it is in these scare times that we find our courage. So do not shy away from them. Even if that scare moment is something as silly as sitting at lunch tables with top business executives, not even sure which fork is for the salad. Graduates, when you are looking for that ounce of courage, remember, once a warrior, always a warrior. Because warriors are very courageous people. So even if it's just volunteering yourself to lead that group project or discussion in your college courses, find courage to run your race. It will take you so far. Mile 4. There's this meme on social media that I just love. You may be familiar with it. It says, "Don't let the internet rush you." Everyone is running this race called life. Some far ahead of you, and some are camping out at the start line. Don't let that be you. When I decided to study for the CPA exam, my plan was to pass all 4 parts in the 4 months between college graduation and relocating to Baltimore to start my career. Well, 2.5 years later, I finally finished the exam. Long story. But I was taking my exam and facing one roadblock after another to cross this finish line. I'm envying my peers as they post their passing scores and celebrate with nice tropical vacations, and I'm still spending late nights at the office, studying, failing one part 3 times by 1 point each time. I was somehow letting their success make me feel inadequate, failing to realize that we were just running different races at different paces. My journey included 3 jobs and a full course load at one point. It was different, period. Never let yourself feel less than or behind for any reason at all. Not because you are going to community and they get to go to their dream school, or because they are finished whatever it is and you have a few more miles to go. Or better yet, behind because everyone is getting married and starting families, and you are like me, 29 years old and still proudly holding on to your V card. Comparison kills. Something you hear often, but rarely let it sink in. Your life is too special to mirror anyone else in any way. Remember, it's your race. Mile 5. Your life should not be all about you. All I'm saying is that each one of us should make time to help someone else as often as we can. You are never too young, too inexperienced, or too busy to volunteer your time, to encourage someone, to give back to your community, to mentor someone younger through a race that you have already run, or to learn the word selfless. being generous and kind to not only ourselves, but also to those around us. Some of my most valuable skills, resume points, and lessons learned are the result of acts of service and my willingness to share my gifts. As you run your race, don't forget about those who cross your path. Run this race together. Now, there are many more miles that we could run, like the mile where we learn about how important it is to take care of our bodies and eat well, or the mile about doing new things like zip-lining through the mountains over 2,800 feet in the air and visiting unfamiliar places, or the mile on how important consistency and self-discipline are. But I am sure that you are sick of hearing the word mile and run by now, so I will leave you with this. Tonight, class of 2019, you are crossing a finish line that is opening the door to more start lines than you can imagine. Even if you never run an actual mile in your lifetime, it's okay if you don't, you are ready for this race. Keep God first. He will be with you every step of the way. And remember, 1 mile at a time, your race, your pace.